This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
And there we have it. All right. Welcome to the, Wednesday, November 20th, 2024 meeting of the Easthampton Energy Advisory Committee. I am Jamie Paquette, the chair of the committee, joined likewise by members Cassie Eckhoff, John Pepe, Josh Rosenblatt, and Connie Dawson. We will be getting into our agenda here, starting with, we're going to punt on the reviewing the minutes due to technical glitches, which will hopefully be fixed.
I will get them to you ASAP.
So that's fine. We'll push on the review and approval of those until the next meeting, and we can do a two-fer with that one and this one. John, thank you for stepping up to take notes today and do the minutes. We are at the time for the public speak. We have one member of the public here online. If you would like to speak, feel free to unmute yourself and say whatever you want. If you're just here to listen, that's fine too.
But that's not just open space.
No, that's glass. Okay.
Citizen C.
Let's see. Decided to just hang out and listen, which is fine. And so we will go on to the next piece here. Committee updates. I didn't change the agenda much from last time because I was in a crunch to get it submitted, so it's roughly the same. I don't have anything further really on the Bees committee at the moment, other than the fact that the next meeting for that has been scheduled for December. We're looking at doing some more stuff for the spring around native plantings and pollinator friendly policies and efforts, things like that. So yeah, the people over there know way more about that stuff than I do, so it's good I get to get a little window into that world and see, get some tips and ideas to think about. But definitely I'm not a flora and fauna guy for the most part.
Not even herbs.
Don't go down this road again, man.
I've been, legally. It's really fun on. What was it? Yeah. I won't go.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Really?
You can have some fun. All right. So the green communities and climate leader communities here. We had a little bobble in this last week. John was fortunate enough to push through, and you want to give a quick update on what happened there?
Yeah. Well, it was about a month-long process of pulling information together and utility bills and deliveries, oil and gas deliveries, which mostly came from DPW, getting them in. And then in the last couple of weeks, I realized we needed some other people like the mayor and others, DPW, to tell us any changes with environmental monitoring and control systems, the Honeywell work, the fleet stuff, any changes with the fleet, some things along those lines. And so I passed along some emails to Lindsay and the mayor, and they routed me to, or Ken Comey, about.
I don't.
He's probably here. COMIA. He's a land use planner with Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, and he's on the loan or a separate little contract working here part-time to fill in the planning department. But he jumped in and said, I'll help you track this stuff down. And, we had everything done 2 days before the deadline. And I sent it along, and it kind of got lost in terms of getting a signature. And luckily, I assumed that they were on the top of it, take care of it. Luckily, Chris Mason noted our unfinished filing and warned me about 3 o'clock on Friday. It was due at 5.
Oh, geez.
And so we went through a mad rush of trying to reach the mayor, trying to reach Lindsay. I didn't realize that this place was closed on Friday. It might have started earlier than where I
Right.
stay with it, but
Right.
then, I called Connie Denham and she tracked down Lindsay, who tracked down the mayor. We missed the deadline on her signature, but Chris assured us that the report was in, it was filed, so
Right.
we should be all right. I guess there's a penalty of not being eligible. I mentioned that to you on the
You
phone,
mentioned,
being-
right.
Being eligible for grants for a year if you don't
Right.
file it, but I think this is gonna be okay.
Okay.
But it was really interesting seeing all that data and, you know, every building's oil, gas, electricity, pretty much the buildings is it. Also what we bought from the fuel depot for all our fleets,
Mhm.
for diesel, gas, whatever. We should have that information ready to hand for people to look at, and ask questions and learn about where we're at with stuff, different stuff is pretty valuable.
Mhm.
And then I just noticed today, I was doing the, what do we actually call it? The roadmap, that was tacked onto our climate action plan, where we didn't really discuss much.
Mhm.
Right.
I don't think that I recall. You know, it's decent and it does the job, but I mean, it does tell us where we are, where we have to be at different points in time, or our targets, and where we expect that reduction in greenhouse gases to come from. And so seeing what the MEI database, the Mass Energy Insights database, has about all our building fossil fuel use and electricity use, seeing what they have on the roadmap is interesting exercise. I'm gonna try to I don't think it's all that difficult. I didn't have the time for this report, but to put together exactly what we got in reductions from moving from the 3 elementary schools to the regional school.
Okay.
It's not complete yet.
Mhm.
I didn't realize this. It's not till 2027 that we really hand those buildings over.
Right, when they're finally,
I had thought that, you know, we cleared out. I thought
Still
as of
city
last year
property,
that,
yeah.
you know, it's not ours anymore. That they signed a contract, the other guys own it.
Are we saying
No.
we're still heating?
And
it
there's still,
up?
yeah, there's
Half
there's
year.
about a third, I'm guessing about a third of the fossil fuel consumption that they were when they were active with
Mhm.
classes, still just to keep the building heated.
Why are we keeping it until 2027?
For the time
For the
sake.
public process, I mean, that's not our purview here, but like the public process for that, which was, you know, to hand it over to a developer potentially, they went through, they brought in at least 3 bids that were reviewed, scored, graded, one was chosen, but the time frame for the actual handoff to when the companies are ready to actually start doing the work, I thought it was 2026, 2027. I imagine there's probably some legal preparatory things involved in doing that.
Was it something the buyers were prepared for, or?
I think it was part of I think it was kind of stated, or assumed that it was going to take. And I don't know what the city's history is with some of the other things that they've done that with, for instance, over like Parsons Street or whatever, if that was like, again, like a multi-year.
It probably also has to do
process
with
or
all the
whatever.
grants that are involved with these developers, you know,
Potentially,
that they're all
Financing.
government grants and take forever.
I'm also wondering if they, you know, they had, I don't know what you call them, but partial plans in place, you know, as part of their proposal.
Mhm.
And that they may, you know, could take them a year or two to really fully develop their plans so they can put out
True.
construction bids. And
Yeah,
maybe
right.
they
They don't
didn't
wanna-
want to own it.
They don't want
Yeah,
to take possession of that until they
Right.
know they're ready to break ground and they've got all their financing in line and all that stuff. I don't know, it's a little bit speculative, but
Yeah.
so those are still on the books. And so another thing though is that you did also reach out around solar farms, right? I'm trying to get a little more info on Oliver Street
Yeah.
and the Deerfield
Yeah.
one. Did you get anything back on that?
Yeah, I did. And I still want to discuss with somebody whether we're clearly getting credit that we should get.
Right, because you were
Or-
noting that you weren't seeing anything in the green communities filings and stuff, right?
Well, it shows the landfill solar generation.
Okay,
But then there's this Deerfield, basically like community solar or whatever that
Yeah.
we buy into. There would get quite a bit of electricity from there. And then that gets allocated to buildings,
Mhm.
building accounts, electricity accounts. And it keeps moving around. I mean, because they get too much credits on any particular account.
Okay.
They don't want to build up the credits too much. They move the credits to other buildings. It's
Yeah.
a little hard to track. But I'm just worried that we're not fully, realizing what our consumption is in those buildings, because this is just like at home. When you have it, if you have solar at home, which you're doing right now, you have the net meter figure, which is what's going to show up on your bill.
Right.
And then they tell you what your production is for your solar system. And what's missing from that is what the internal consumption at your house is that you're using
Yes.
when you're not sending it into the system, into the grid.
Right.
And so I'm thinking
Oh,
that
I
a lot of the solar, like at schools, that's produced is being used internally. It's not showing up in the Eversource bill. It's the thing I brought up in the climate action plan in the beginning with West and Easthampton. I want to know what we use entirely and what portion of it is solar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just afraid we're missing out. I'm still investigating this.
Uh-huh.
Maybe at some point, we could look at some of the information. I'd be happy to
Okay.
work that over with you or somebody else.
So I just have a question of, when is the next report due?
When the sustainability manager's here, I hope.
Well, that's what I was gonna
Is
say.
it,
I mean,
is
I
it
don't
like a
think that we
quarterly
should
or
have,
6 months?
is it,
It's like-
I got an awful feeling.
I
it's
tell you, it took me
quarterly.
like 40 to 60 hours of work on this.
I just don't think that this would be our
Part
responsibility.
of it was learning curve, because just knowing how the database works and
Yeah.
figuring out the
So,
bills.
I mean, and generally speaking, it's it's not supposed to be our responsibility. We've
I'm
all
happy to-
stepped up to.
And thank you for
different
doing
things.
that.
Yeah.
But I just think we
Good
should
job.
make it clear to the city that we don't expect to take it on next time.
We hope not
Above our
to.
pay grade.
We hope
Definitely.
not to, but it's not like we're gonna say no if for some reason we can't get a replacement in,
Yeah.
Well, they fired a planning director yesterday.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It's
Update.
I wish I could remember the name, but, he didn't say the name. And she's from Easthampton
Oh,
and
that's
is now the
interesting.
planning director in West Springfield.
Oh.
Okay.
Interesting.
By the way, that Ken Comey actually lives here too. That guy from the Regional Planning Commission.
Nice. All right. Well, that's some positive things. While we're talking about that, we did see, I think John, you and Cassie both got updates on the city sustainability coordinator role in terms of like you talked to Emily and you had emailed with her maybe or whatever. And just found out that, initial approval's been there, they're still working out some of the budgeting, and then it may need to go back to city council for an appropriation,
Additional money.
something like that. Is
Everyone
that
was suggesting.
everyone's understanding? So it has still not been posted yet, right? It's still maybe a month or two away.
I felt like they were gonna keep moving on it. I
I
mean, it
thought
wasn't
so
just
too.
wasn't just like, oh, well, we
Yeah.
don't have enough, so forget about it for now. They're gonna,
No, it seems like it's, yeah.
you know what, they actually, I keep
prioritized, but-
referencing this person verbally and in writing, and do we know what the actual title of the position is?
Sustainability coordinator.
Coordinator.
Yeah.
Okay. Not czar.
Not czar.
I was
You want a
holding
czar?
out for a czar.
Yeah, sorry.
That's not the position you said they're hiring someone for.
No, the plan-
No, that's the
planning.
planning director.
Planning.
Planning director, which was Jeff Bag's position previously.
Okay.
That's very good news.
It is very good.
Yeah.
On the climate leader designation thing, it looked like in one of Chris Mason's emails talking about the green communities update, it said that they're working with people to try to help them do the decarbonization roadmaps. And that there's a deadline now, I think, for the designation coming in like
December.
December. Yeah.
December.
Oh, okay.
And so I imagine that even though we got all our stuff in a while back, they may not have been ready to actually start.
And that's what, when I
Handing
tried
out
to get
those
hold of, that's what he told me, that they
designations,
like weren't even close to fate to doing that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, kudos to Cassie T, who was way on the ball on that and got everything together quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, doing the climate action plan definitely helped having a lot of materials at hand. But yeah, great work by her. So again, we're just kind of waiting. At some point, I guess we'll, check in with Chris and make sure that we don't need to submit anything else
Well,
to do that.
yeah, I mean, I did send him an email about
You
it
did.
before our last meeting, and he
Okay.
wrote back and said, what, you're in there, but the powers that be that will make this designation are not yet at the point where they're looking at applications. But I can send him another email and just ask him to please keep us, I think I did say that, but that we're still really eager to know right away when the process begins. I can do that. I'll do that.
Okay.
Was it, Cassie with Tracker was still here when the
She
road map-
submitted all of it.
Yeah.
She submitted everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
so she was involved with the, what do we call it, the decarbonization roadmap part of our
Yeah.
plan. Do we feel fairly confident that she and Weston and looked at the guidelines, talked with the powers that be, and we feel pretty confident that what we submitted attached to our plan here
Yes.
is going to cut the mustard with that? Okay, I hope so.
Well, she knows Chris really well because he used to work in Northampton, and so she consulted with him a lot while this was all going on. So I think she had the best information available at the time.
Yeah.
Whether they've changed things or something.
They
is
should
another
have.
question.
They put it out there. They put out, this is what it requires, and hopefully they're not changing it. Maybe interpretations. But
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think they're just like doing these workshops now to help other communities that haven't figured this stuff out.
I might
Like,
be interested in a workshop. I might
Yeah.
check out this.
okay, yeah, if you,
Observing and seeing how it matches up with what we've got.
yeah.
Did you also see I don't know if you're not really on green communities yet.
We are talking green communities. I have another thing here. Are you talking about the thing Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was just gonna talk about next. Chris Mason then also sent us a nice note saying that Easthampton is going to be recognized at the Green Community Summit this Friday for its success in reducing municipal energy use by 20% since our Green Communities baseline year. There's a little invitation if anyone wants to go. Where is it? Danvers on Friday.
That's something to show up.
Devon. Sorry, Devon.
Oh,
Sorry,
Fort Devon.
Mid-state.
Mid-state. Okay.
It's like about an hour and a quarter.
It's near Concord, isn't it? Yeah,
Well, not too far.
Yeah.
So on this.
Don't they go to the Concord Public Schools or the
I go to there
Carlisle
I go to the
Public
Fort Devens all the time because my daughter has Frisbee tournaments there.
Okay.
It's an hour and a quarter roughly from Northampton.
Okay. So it's their annual Green Communities Summit. We're being recognized during
Well, that's very
during the
nice.
lunch break at the summit.
Well, is anyone from the city planning to go and
Uh,
collect the reward?
I
the
don't
prize?
know. So it's
Award.
emailed to me.
Award.
I don't think there's any rewards.
It was mailed to Lindsay and the mayor and John and me and Cassie. Did you see that?
I would have gone out of interest, except, I'm I've got a big day Friday that I can't get around.
Yeah, I'm headed out of town, so I cannot.
Is it
go.
a big faux pas on our part not to have somebody there to?
I don't
Pick
think,
it up,
I mean,
Probably not.
one of us from a volunteer committee, I don't think so.
Yeah.
We're also supposed to have RSVP by the 18th.
Mayor doesn't want to go, right?
I don't know if she would be planning, maybe she's planning to go for this whole summit, like the whole day. Anyway,
And it's not available online, the summit.
it is not. No, it's like an in-person only kind of thing, so, anyway, but a nice piece of
That's
recognition
nice, yeah.
nonetheless. So we'll wait and see about the climate leader designation and can move on from there. I think any other Green Communities key dates. Oh, no, it's an annual report for Green Communities.
I thought it might be.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
even
so it's
better,
an annual.
okay.
You have another one of the paper?
I don't.
I got it on my phone.
Sure,
Are
okay.
you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I only printed four.
That's okay.
episodes. Like, usually I don't.
I got it on my
use all
phone.
five. Okay, anything else on Green Communities or other committee updates? Josh, you're able to keep up with the randomness of
Thank God we're recording it.
yes, there you go. All right. So let's talk about the climate action plan, which we've touched on a little bit. Still don't have anything concrete as far as like, next steps or whatever. And again, the roadmap, maybe a place to start with that, like figure out some things, but, things we're going to shoot for, but we also have all these other things happening. So how prioritized, the press release or something like that might be at this point in time. But for the business recognition program, Cassie, you were looking at the logo issues and like trying to find that out, and then any other updates that you have from that part.
I have updates.
Great.
We own the logos. They're our property. And, Weston and Sampson agreed to modify them for no charge,
Wow, that's very
which
nice.
was, I felt like it was a big coup. And, I investigated the price of window decals because that's really the only cost for the program.
Mhm.
And they range between $1 and $10 a pop. So it's not a formidable expense.
Exactly.
And is it cheaper the more you order? Is that
Of
kind
course.
thing?
It's cheaper per unit to order more.
Right.
Yeah,
But
Right, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I mean, how many businesses really are there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I kind of
It's
priced it
just
out,
how
I
many
priced it out for 100.
Okay, that's probably really.
You said between 1 and 10?
So do you think it would be worth it to spend more? Are they like really nice?
My guess is that the more money you spend, the nicer they're gonna be. Yeah, I wouldn't go cheesy with
I
this.
agree with you,
Yeah.
because we don't have a budget.
What is cheesy? Cheap? Or
Well, just kind of
overdone?
looking, yeah, cheap looking.
We're not that
How would we
town.
go about paying for something like this?
I guess we'd have to ask.
I have never asked
How are
for
your
an
brownies?
appropriation of any kind, but,
Because we've never asked for money, have we?
no, I've never
EDIC
asked for an
has money.
appropriation of anything. EDIC has money.
Oh, it does?
I think it did. I mean, they did back in the day when I was.
Oh, and you know who has money? The chamber.
Yeah.
And we're doing it in partnership with the
There
chamber.
you go.
There you go. Call.
There we
call
go.
Mo.
Boo.
These stickers are really is it to advertise the program or to advertise who the awardees are, or the ones that
The
go out?
latter.
You get a sticker
Both.
if you're a business
So-
partner.
Can we get the business who gets the sticker paid for it? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
So it just,
But how many am I gonna, are there gonna be is what I mean, it's gonna be really
I'd say
expensive.
less than 50. I mean,
I imagine how much
how many businesses are there? in
exemplary
Easthampton?
behavior is out there.
Nobody's ever been able to get a good handle on that. And, you know, their businesses also that, don't have a storefront.
Right,
So
Yep.
they get the gift file to put on their letterhead.
that's, so
So
that doesn't cost us anything. Huh?
nothing.
so the stickers, like sometimes when you go into a business, like they have it on their their glass door when you go in,
Right.
it's that kind of sticker.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah,
Yeah.
like an Amex.
Right.
You know,
How big are
Yeah.
you can get them whatever size you want.
they? Things like Big E's. They'll probably be a contender right away. They like it.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you get into like, the mills and there's all those individual
Oh, that's
businesses
what I'm
in there.
saying.
and- so, yeah.
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 No,
Yeah,
there's not, I mean, it's probably a lot when you get down to it.
well, we can always order more.
then all the- Cottage Street,
That's a high class one.
It is.
Bud building and everything.
What I wonder about is how high or low the bar is set for getting. I know there's a little discussion about some categories. I read some of the stuff you put together. Categories for things, accomplishments in this area or that area. I mean, you want to reward people, encourage them and give them recognition for doing good stuff. But I know you don't want to give out all the candy too easily. If
Well, it would
you
be,
want to encourage more good behavior.
yeah, you don't want to be loosey-goosey with it, but I mean, it would be the kind of thing where we would talk about it, right? If this person, I'm nominating this business for such and such.
I think it was more a kind of a, if you meet one of the criteria, that's the way it was originally presented. If you meet one of the original criterions, then criteria, you, get it.
Okay,
But, maybe we want to, rethink that. You have to get 3 of them.
yeah, or depending on which ones they meet, because some of them are a lot more difficult to beat.
Mhm.
Right.
Isn't
Solar
it,
panels.
isn't it EDIC that makes that decision though? Not us.
We're kind of looking at
Oh,
it, it's kind of
Or
a
a
joint
combination. Okay,
project.
I like the combination idea.
And then, of course, the big question is, we want to take advantage of this. How do we get this out into the communities, it's the advertising of this for the businesses
Yeah.
and then for all the stuff we're trying to do.
I think that's where the chamber's gonna really,
That would
Yeah.
be fabulous. So wonderful.
he was supposed to come, our rep, yesterday and present what the working relationship was gonna be. But he didn't show up, so it was kind of disappointing.
Who's the he?
I think I'd be making up a name.
Who's it with though?
But he is with a software company.
Maybe the Chamber of
Through the
Commerce.
chamber.
He was representing the Chamber of
Okay,
Commerce.
so it wasn't Mo.
No, it wasn't Mo. She's not doing Edic anymore. She's too busy.
Okay, so, next step, you're gonna, what, finalize a decal, a sticker design, or we're waiting for that for
We
what?
need to run it up the flagpole a bit
Okay.
higher before we spend money.
Yeah,
And now we've got the new director of planning, so maybe we can hit that
Okay.
person's budget.
right, that's who, yeah. Okay, so we're waiting for something back from Weston and Sampson still, like?
No, we
just
have
need to
that.
ask, we have the
We have
thing
to
back,
ask
okay.
them for it. I think what we're waiting for is to hear from the chamber what their strategy is.
Okay. Okay, so.
Because it'd be great if we could like have these companies listed like on the city website.
Right, that's
Yeah.
part of the proposal.
Yeah, that would just be
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tom Brown thought it'd be good if somebody has a very creative sustainability initiative. He's big on the takeaway containers at Cassie, the Mexican place. on
That's on the
Main
street.
Street. Yes, that we should post those, so share ideas.
That's one of the things I'm a little concerned about in terms of qualitative impact. I mean, my background was solid waste management and recycling, and if they were marketed to customers to take home and recycle, I can't remember which way they went, whether it's compostable or recyclable. We have them we've been storing them up in my garage, thinking we might reuse them, but because we've got a Veracruzan off and on. But if they're for recycling, I know places that take recyclables have a problem with food coated plastic. Even if the plastic brand new would be recyclable, people take it out of there, dump the food out, and throw it in their recycling bin without washing it. That's a problem. Composting is okay. Where do you compost it in this town? I mean, unless you're subscribing to pedal people.
Right,
So this is always the thing with recycling and waste initiatives is
The nitty
watching,
gritty.
the nitty gritty and what really happens to it
Yeah.
and how much more diversion of waste occurs because of that versus what looks good. Businesses often,
And I had
Big
a
businesses,
conversation, when we were
corporations.
handing out those flyers to try to get people to come to our meetings, I had a conversation with, I don't ask me the name of that Italian restaurant up near the butcher shop,
Nini's.
Nini's, and he told me that if you have I think it was if it's tomato based, there's a certain kind of plastic he is required to use by the state because of the kind of food he makes. And that has nothing to do with whether it's recyclable or anything else. It has to do with the quality of carrying food around in it. And he actually
This
Feels-
takeout, you mean for takeout?
yes, that's it. That was his name. Yeah. And he,
Takeout you're talking about?
takeout. Yeah. And he said that, he gets so irritated when cities, make these requirements for restaurants to do certain things with takeouts when he's required to use this other kind of packaging for other reasons. So it's complicated.
and it doesn't solve the main issue, which is sort of like all these single-use containers.
Yes.
Right, it's like the whole concept of
Yes.
single-use
Yes.
is kind of like the issue more so, because no
Yes.
matter what it is, it's got to get to a composting facility,
Yes.
it's got to get to a recycling facility. You got to be able to, even plastic that can be recycled, right?
The-
To
the-
create-
the
There
city-
can be some people who, or some business owners who say, take a beginning of that, say, look, the stuff that I'm using, regardless of whether or not it's how it's recyclable, it is much better for the environment in terms of how it's made.
Right,
So I'm using like a cardboard based thing instead of the plastic based thing. So yes, it would be great if all of my customers do recycle it properly, but at least I'm doing this, so I'm not
Yeah.
right.
buying more plastic.
Right. And there's the shipping weight and all sorts of things that all factor into, the embodied energy of each
Well, is
piece.
there Easthampton, the place in Easthampton doesn't, how there's certain things that says that you have to take it to a certain facility for it to be composted.
Yeah.
You can't just compost it in your own
Right.
compost pile. But we can't, there's nowhere, we don't have that facility. do
Well, that's
we?
what John was saying, is like, unless you're doing,
Oh, they will take that
Yeah,
stuff?
there's a bin after you go
Where?
through the
CPW?
Valley Recycling.
Oh, they have a food waste bin?
I
Yeah,
didn't know
I
that
noticed
they
that.
have that.
Yeah, it's over by the
So, and also like those green bags you get in supermarkets, they'll take those too.
bins. I mean, the ones that, there are some that you get around that are compostable.
The ones that say,
Yes,
They're
those can go in.
I
But
didn't
like
know
the
that.
regular plastic green bags, we just save those and put them in all the plastics that you take it
Right.
in wine, Stop and Shop.
Yes, right. But I just, but there are certain containers that says on this, they say on them, compostable, but you have to take them to a particular place. But they will take them there. I didn't know that.
Okay, yeah, I don't
That's
think,
good
I
to
go there
know.
all the time. I don't think I realize.
I've been throwing those
Well,
away.
when you go out, so we're the 3 lanes where you go,
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
that stuff, and you leave there, instead of doing a U-turn just to go back out,
yeah.
you do like a wide U-turn, and
Yeah.
over against that building, there's a big dumpster.
Yeah, the
Ah.
mulch.
And that is
That
for,
over near the
yes,
mulch.
just to the left of the mulch.
Okay, that's just.
I had
for
no
anything-
idea.
Anything
I haven't
compost.
looked recently, but that's where it used to be.
Okay, that's good to know. I have to look next time I
Interesting.
go over there.
Yeah, because I mean, I did pedal people for a while, like their compost. Now I live where they don't pick up. And that's like the only one I know that'll actually pick it up.
Ironically, we used to be able to put paper in with the food waste, paper that's not recyclable. and
Right.
it Said, we're cut off now because of where they're taking it.
Oh, really?
Doesn't want that, but ironically, the place they're taking it that doesn't want paper was designed to take like massive amounts of significant amounts of plastic compostable food trays.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they have machines that separate that out from food, but they don't want paper. So you get one thing and you lose the other.
Interesting.
The funny little story about the first compostable stuff that was being used, that was being marketed, UMass picked up for all the dining commons, and
Mhm.
particularly used around, what do you call it? When COVID hit, they really went crazy with that. They found out after all the promotion of the material, they found out it contained PFAs and was threatening Martin Farms up in Greenfield, where we were taking our food waste to compost. He was threatening his organic status as an organic.
Huh.
Wow,
Anyway,
that's interesting.
It's just crazy history, but anyways.
Yeah, no, material science stuff is fascinating, but it is like, we've got a few around the bend here with it.
Who runs Valley Recycling? It'd be interesting
These are
to,
the people who had, what had once been the Dussault. The Dussault,
The trucking one, yeah.
And now that's United.
is it a private enterprise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
It was the family that ran Amherst Trucking for a while, and it might have sold out, also made an investment in that facility. I see the guy there, one of the son who ran Amherst Trucking for decades, but.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, all comes back to the fact that, with business recognition program, you can go a lot of ways and
Yes.
choose a lot of different,
Yeah.
things to prioritize. So it'd be interesting to see what people come up with, what our thoughts are, what individual companies want to do, what the chamber might want to do,
Yeah.
where they think, I mean, innovative ideas are cool to highlight, one way or another,
Mhm.
for sure.
Thank you for doing this. I think it's gonna be really terrific.
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I wish I had more time for it, but
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we can all say about a lot of things. All right, so we're gonna move on from that to a quick aggregation update. I thought I'd have a more robust update here because we did have our DPU public hearing,
Mhm.
2:00, which is why I was here early. So I figured I'd set up here and do that one and go right into this. And that turned out to be about 10 minutes long, and most of that was just like perfunctory. And then I said, good energy got me to say a few words. The mayor didn't even make it on in time. And it was basically just like only a couple members of the public were there. Nobody spoke up to say anything. And so they were like, okay, this concludes the public
After all
hearing.
that?
Yeah. So I thought it was going to be more of a presentation of things and having to make a case to DPU or whatever, but apparently no.
Well, maybe this is the change that has occurred.
It could be, yeah. So Rafita from Good Energy just messaged her real quick and said, was that supposed to be so short? That felt weird.
Or is there a problem?
Yeah, I was like, is that not a good sign? And she said, no, that's what, to be expected. Nobody showed up. Nobody said anything. And so,
It's just a box you check.
It's
not
just a
the-
box.
It's not the
DP
decision.
it's another legal thing, right? It's like when we had to do our public hearing here, we had to put legal notice out. And we had to do that too for DPU this time. We had to put stuff in the Gazette or wherever they ended up putting it. It just says, hey, public hearings happening. The public is welcome to weigh in, speak on this topic, etc. So yeah, we checked the box, and now we wait for whatever's next.
Now goes the DOER?
No, DOER, we already had our DOER consults.
Oh,
That
okay.
box has been checked. The next box is DPU approving the plan, hopefully.
Okay,
And we're coming back to us for more information, but yeah, hopefully it's just a plan approval from them at some point, some indeterminate point in the near future. And then once we have that, we can go out to bid and start to get messy.
wow.
So,
And I think it could conceivably happen soon, depending on,
good, yeah,
What's really
I think,
happening
I
with
mean,
DPU?
again, it seems dedicated to turning things around fast, so we'll see.
Yeah.
So that's still moving forward. Also moving forward is our electrification and efficiency stuff. So the Electrify Easthampton, Northampton. But the update from last week that Cassie shared with us was that they have settled on a vendor. They had not at that time notified that vendor, but were going to. I think they were just what they said. They were
They're just waiting
Waiting.
for our finance team's final
There you go.
approval before we tell Revise to start contracting. And they're gonna share a draft with us when they get further along.
Draft agreement, like a draft.
so Revise has been
drafted like the
notified.
contract.
So they're working on the
They
contract.
have not, well, as of last week, they had not been notified pending review by the financial folks at Mass CE.
I see.
That's what?
CEC.
But the expectation is that they're the ones who are going to be offered the contract.
Yeah, they have after.
Good.
So let's see, they did say it'd be great to get some feedback on the contract, if possible, once it's further along. So I think they'll share that with us once everything is good to go. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Then the Mass Save Community First Partnership. So we talked about this briefly last time, where we were partnering with Northampton and, as it turned out, Westhampton to move forward with trying to get an energy advocate that would advocate for mass save programs and other energy efficiency efforts within our communities. Cassie, we talked about it last night a little bit. After that, Cassie and I did meet to go over some of the draft language that had been put together by Gabi from Northampton, who was spearheading that part of it, along with Ben. So we.
And the efforts of Cassie Eckhoff at modifying the grant application are duly noted.
Yes, they are. I got there yet.
So,
But yes, Cassie took a crack at a bunch of rewriting language, sort of cleaning some stuff up, trying to simplify some things, combining some stuff in a few
Can we
areas.
see it? Can we see it?
so I'm sorry, I think I'm like out of the loop. So we're applying for a grant
So-
to provide a salary for one individual to be, I don't know how I missed that. That's okay.
Yeah,
And
well,
it's
see,
through
when
Mass
you
Save.
get to do your notes from the last meeting.
Yeah.
Well, it's all that stuff you did in the 70s.
Listen, I think about that all the time. I'm sure that's true.
So anyway,
But
we.
it's made me very flexible. Sorry, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So we took to back it up real quick from the top. So yeah, back in I think September, I saw this message come through. Reached out to the mayor. She was supportive of going for it. In the meeting I was on to learn more about it, the folks from Northampton were also on that meeting.
Okay.
I started talking to them in that meeting, and then we set up a meeting outside of that to discuss whether it made sense to go in on this together, because we weren't going to have the wherewithal to put in our own application.
Okay.
So Northampton agreed that they would take the lead on it. They would include Easthampton and possibly try to bring in a third community, which was being discussed as possibly Williamsburg, possibly Westhampton. In the end, Westhampton was chosen to go forward with this. There was some debate about how we would fund this, whether it should be full-time or part-time, what the contributions from each community would be towards that. settled on about a 20-hour-a-week part-time role for all three communities, working potentially out of offices in each place at different times. So
What are they doing again?
they're advocating, trying to spread the word for mass saves programs, trying to get more people. We identified 3 specific sets of parts of the community that we want to go after, which is 1 to 4 family building owners, landlords, 5 to plus unit landlords, as well as small commercial. I think was the third one, correct? Small commercial customers.
Love what we're doing.
Well, Mass Save is the one putting up the money to do this because they know that they've identified these communities that they're having lower return rates on, right? They're not getting as much participation from these certain areas, landlords, especially middle income folks being another one, right? They've got a lot of the lower income and stuff covered because they have partners that are really targeting those communities and making sure that they're hit and that work is getting done. So there's like these gaps that are happening. So Mass Save put together this community first partnership, say, hey, communities, tell us how you're going to get the word out about Mass Save and anything else, and get more people into the program, and which of these target audiences you're going to go after and how you're going to do it.
Would you
So
do the
grant
targets
money that
again?
we're applying for is to supplement what Mass Save is contributing?
No, they're financing this work.
They would finance the person, the staff person that would be hired as a result of this grant.
Did I miss something that you're working on wording for a grant?
So the grant application been submitted.
To Mass Save.
We were working on that previously. Yes.
So can you say it again? It's landlords of 1 to 4 units.
1 to 4 units, 5+ units. So
Okay.
basically all landlords essentially.
And then what was the third category?
If they're category small commercial.
Okay.
Users, commercial
Okay.
businesses. Excuse me.
And the person would be seated in Easthampton.
Right, I think at least part of the time, right, we're trying to
Little
figure out.
house, the
Yeah, because
person.
Northampton doesn't have any space for them. So we don't,
I like that.
it was just submitted in early November, I believe, right, like 2 months
Right.
ago. I don't know exactly when we're expecting to hear. I think before the end of the year though, or maybe
It's
January.
going to be possible to have somebody and then you got to hire somebody. Be nice if there wasn't too long of a gap between when Revise gets working on the project
Right.
and this person starts, because it seems they could do some cross.
Well, yes, because what we'd also want this person to do, to promote the Electrify Easthampton Northampton program, because that program is going to have specific incentives available to people who participate above and beyond the Mass Save incentives. Right, part of that whole process was like that 150 or that $500,000, of which 150 is Easthampton. Some of it's going to pay for the program itself and the people who are doing the outreach. Part of it was supposed to pay for incentives for people that participate in it. So to change out a heat pump or whatever. So there's a lot of overlap, right? And then a sustainability coordinator comes and kind of maybe sits over all that and is like, okay, what else can we do as a town to like promote all this stuff, right? I mean, we wanted people to participate in these programs because it's not municipal money, but it's money that's available to everybody, and we want to reduce energy use. And then plus aggregation, which is another form. So all this stuff kind of fits together, and it comes into the, it's not a city decarbonization roadmap, but it's like climate action plan related. Like we're lowering, we're lowering emissions, we're lowering carbon fuel usage.
So that brings me to something slightly related, which is this whole issue of having local people get trained to be consultants for people, like the first, not at the level that these people would be at, but just people who are thinking about electrifying, but just know nothing about it. It's something what's the name of the
Coaching.
Yeah, right.
Alliance Heat Park.
Right. So we keep talking about trying to set that up, and I really would love to have us follow through on that. And I think it would work really well with this. I know there's at least one person in Northampton who would be very interested in having us develop a group. And
Right.
And the other thing I want to say about it is, I actually started the coaching course, and because I was looking at a 2-family house, and the particular person doing the training didn't really know much to say to me about it. I mean, I would love to see if we can get a cohort of people to do the training together so they can talk about it together, because those of us who are really ignorant about these things, it's very difficult to just try to figure it out on your own, even though.
Right.
So you're taking the course right now, right? Or you've already
Doing
taken
the
it?
online.
That's what I'm talking about. That's when I
version.
started. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could have finished it if I'd been doing it with someone else,
Yeah.
you
I'm
know?
working with Eric Broadbent a bit on
Yeah.
helping each other figure out.
So he's taking it right now too?
It's what do you call that? It's at your leisure,
Yeah.
when
Right.
you work on it as you go,
Right.
and you make your way through the chapters. and-
Oh, when I was doing it, there were
No,
specific
it wasn't a live.
meetings.
It's not a live online. It's
Oh.
not. So Heat Smart Alliance is taking in expressions of interest and maybe shooting to do another live session in the spring.
Yeah.
But they're volunteers. They have to figure out who among their qualified people are available to do that, the commitment. So maybe that'll happen. Pioneer Valley Planning seems to be taking an interest in this too. And they had a whole session about, which I attended, none that you weren't available. They had a session about it. Maybe they can rustle up some more people from the Southern Valley here or whatever who are interested in taking a course, and maybe they can help find the money, but we might have to go outside the expertise that Heat Smart Alliance has, because that's all volunteers. Like the Rewire America training, which is, I guess, more rigorous, is another possible, maybe.
Right, I know they've been doing stuff, but I think once we have an energy advocate in place through this grant, it's if we get that, which is
Yeah.
an if, certainly, but the electrified program is going to move forward. That's going to have, a company sitting over top of it.
Yeah.
Again, eventually a sustainability coordinator, but I think, it'd be good to get all those people in a room together and say, even whether it's a meeting here or some special thing that we would put together, and maybe some of the other interested community folks, the Heat Smart Alliance or anybody else, and say, hey, let's put something together that covers all these bases, so that puts all the effort in the same direction, right? So maybe, one of the things the energy advocate can do is to hold a training and train up a small army of other local folks that can go out and preach the Mass Save, Bible, or gospel, I guess. And, also talk up the electrify program. Right? I think all those things should go hand in hand, and it shouldn't just be like, well, this group over here is doing this, and then we got, I don't want
Right.
these
No,
exactly little
yeah.
fiefdoms that aren't talking to each other. So again, potentially a problem a sustainability coordinator can solve, because you get one person sitting over, and organizing and overseeing all this. It's easier to do that, and easier for us to work with that person to bring ideas and figure out how to make all this stuff happen. But I think within the context of all these things rising up and getting off the ground is the time to do that, and to really think about, let's see how big of a public splash we can make with a couple events or a couple things, whether it's cultural chaos again, or some other things where we can try to get a lot of eyeballs on these new initiatives that are happening.
Yeah, cultural chaos is probably realistically when we'd be able to really get together to do something, a big splash,
Right.
I think that would be
That's
great.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Winterfest is another one. If there was stuff in place fast enough, if something like Revise wanted to try.
The only disadvantage with cultural chaos is it's so many people from outside.
It is a lot of outside people,
Yeah.
but we've got an Easthampton, Northampton program. It's Energy Advocates, Easthampton, Northampton, Westhampton. Mass Save is statewide, with the exception of places like Holyoke and whatever but they have their own programs. So I mean, you can't really go wrong, preaching electrification and energy reduction, because it's those things are available to anybody anywhere. We'll have one unique program here that will have a small amount of money for some things, but other than that, it's pretty widespread. So we're waiting for Mass CEC to get their finance stuff reviewed. We're waiting for the Community First Partnership to review applications and make decisions. So nothing more to do there yet. But again, I think a very exciting thing to think about, having all those in place and be able to move forward with it. Josh, you all caught up there more or less for now? Yep. Cassie did say before she has to be done by 4:30. We're mindful of that, but
Is that right?
I think we're doing all right.
Early.
No, it's about 10:04.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
Yeah,
correct.
that's correct. We're doing fine. Just wanted to throw that out there. All right. So school bus electrification.
Yeah, well, we are, I just spoke with Durham yesterday, the people.
Yeah, I didn't have time
That's
to,
fine.
to digest your
Yeah.
entire email yet.
I spoke with them initially a month ago and they were pretty gung ho, maybe the wrong word, but they're happy to work with us and had an idea of a path forward with it. They would be the applicant. They do want to do Northampton and us together.
Mhm.
It's the same bus depot, same fleet of buses. We're both eligible entities for the prioritized funding, which means you get much closer to the actual real cost of an electric school bus if you're not a prioritized
Mhm.
grant applicant. You get about half what you need and you can't get it. You can't buy the bus because
Is this a federal grant? What is this grant?
EPA.
EPA.
EPA grants. It's it's Infrastructure Act and IRA money.
Because the state just passed some major bill that includes
Omnibus. Yeah.
something for electrified
Yeah.
buses. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's if that's another grant that would be possible to.
We'll look into it. The last I knew, they had more planning and strategic implementation money and less so actual money to buy buses.
Uh-huh.
There might have been some exceptions to that, but it's a lot of they're big bucks. I don't think they had that much available, but it's worth looking into. But I think the first thing is getting in a partnership with Durham where they
Amazing.
apply. But so anyway, a month ago, they were excited about it. Then the election happened. And, I think that sobered up everybody about whether there's going to be any money
Yeah.
flowing through the pipes from Washington to around clean energy, renewable energy, especially stuff that challenges fossil fuel consumption.
How
They are-
quickly can that money dry up?
What's that?
How
That's what
quickly
I'm sorry.
would that money dry up?
They can turn the valve
shut
off.
it
As far
off.
as I know, I'm guessing they've done it before with things. They can slow walk things administratively.
Okay.
They can shut the valve down. These guys are capable of anything, as far as I can tell. And then you may be contested in court, then we go to court over.
And that
So
costs money.
I'd say we don't have much control. I'm guessing the people who want this to happen aren't gonna have much control over things, after January 20th. So the deadline on this grant application is January 9th. If EPA came up with some miraculous supercharged review, get it in and out the door. Luckily, these are not like the last round. Just every other round goes back and forth from a grant program to a rebate lottery program. This one, they're much more easily hand out the award notification and set up, it's a contract. They'll hand it out after they pick your name out of a hat. But there's not a lot of details to be provided up front. The grant program, they never would be able to do anything in this time frame between now and when it takes over, because those are complicated proposals and they have to review them closely, and this is lighter. So maybe there's a chance. And so Durham's trying to figure out whether they think it's worth it. A good indication was that after the conversation I just had with him, he sent along the application materials that we have to fill out. Even though they're primarily responsible for the application, there's parts that we have to fill in. And so I circulated that I got that over to Nick Bernier at the schools district. And I think he agrees anyway. I don't know if I haven't heard about anybody else chime in yet, but Nick agreed that doesn't look like a lot of work on our part. What's to lose? Get your
Right.
application in there. Maybe
So I'm just, because I'm out of the loop with this. So how much of this would Durham be paying? Like, how much is Durham willing to pay for this? Are they gonna, or is it?
the buses are going to be funded essentially by federal grant money, this program, which
Wow.
funds basically what they intend to do is not to pay you for what you would have spent on a bus anyway. It's what you would have spent beyond the cost of a diesel bus or an electric
Okay.
bus. That's what they're covering. And there's money for a certain amount of money for charging infrastructure. And so Durham, whether they work with a third party like Highland Electric or just handle the charging infrastructure and managing the whole thing themselves, they presumably don't have to pay much more, if anything, than what they would have paid to replace a bus. They'll get rid of however number of many buses that they apply for, electric buses they apply for. They'll scrap diesel buses
Right.
out of that lot on Ferry Street.
So is this the local Durham company or is it some
We
higher
haven't had
level?
I haven't had any contact with the local Durham company. This is their headquarters people,
And where are they?
Tennessee.
Oh, it's, okay, that's what I was curious about. Yeah.
Tennessee, I think it is. Tennessee. But,
John,
DURA.
good job.
well, we'll see if anything comes of this, but,
DURHAM?
DURHAM, like the city in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So, you know, we could hear back from him. I want to give him another call before Thanksgiving because we don't have lots of time left. This would have to go to a school committee meeting to at least have them say, yes, we'll put our name on this application.
Mhm.
So I was encouraging Nick to consider trying to get it on a placeholder on an agenda coming up for a school committee meeting. Then wait to see if we get the go ahead from Durham. They want to do it. We compile our part of the information, which is really pretty simple.
And does the city council have anything to do with this or is it just the school committee?
It's city council. The mayor has to sign on.
Uh-huh.
The district and the mayor have to sign on to this. Yeah.
This is
So-
very exciting.
Well,
Yeah.
we have also very
Supplies.
thanks.
Well, considering the last time I
it's a
talked to-
lottery. The chances
Yeah,
are,
I know, but the last time I heard you talking about this, you were still trying to get a meeting with the school committee. I mean, that was the only thing that was going on. So this is pretty,
well, you know,
huge.
if I could have talked to Durham a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it's to kind of put that self-imposed thing on ourselves. We're not the school district. We can't talk on behalf of the school district until they decide we're good and we're on this together.
Right.
So we didn't talk to Durham. And then finally talked to Durham. I don't think they were ready to move 2 years ago, but now
Right.
they were getting into it 2 years ago. There's a few
Right.
districts in the
There's some
country
seed,
that got some.
Yeah.
So.
You know, a number of the committees that I serve are putting pins in the agenda for, okay, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
And we may, you know, want to at some point brainstorm if, you know, all the tax incentives go away for energy,
Mhm.
how can we continue to motivate people
Right.
to participate?
Right.
So just throwing that out there, not for
Yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
today, but
I hope there's a recording of it, but I heard of somebody warned me about, gave me a heads up about a presentation, an online presentation. There were like 350, 400 people on it about a week or 10 days ago of all the top brass in Executive Office of Energy and Environment, GOER, whatever other subdivisions. They were making a presentation about where do we go now, you know, from here. And it was really mostly a pep talk. They brought in this Gina McCarthy, who was famous, I guess. She was a cabinet person, I think, at one point in energy. Anyway, it was a big pep talk. But they said, we've been thinking about it. We've been working on plan Bs, you know, how we're gonna,
Right.
but I didn't hear a lot of specifics about what the plan Bs could be. How do you make up for could be, I don't know, $1 billion of federal money coming into our area, you know, how do you make that up with state budgets and local budgets? Anyway, if I can get a recording of it, I'd share that because I think you guys would be interested in what they said.
maybe we should just start writing letters to like Jeff Bezos and stuff and ask him to please give us some money for it.
Retire. Oh,
Business.
Good luck with that.
I forget, is he one of the billionaires?
Yeah.
Abstain.
Ask Jeff Bezos for money.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, that's it.
All right,
Action
well, so
items.
next steps in terms of anything are just,
I gotta wait to hear from Durham. Nick seems ready to go. Hopefully put the item on the school committee agenda
there you go.
and hopefully the timing works.
Okay. Yeah. Get some money by
The
January.
bulk of the work would happen if we got the award and the money was secure going forward, putting the plan together.
Yeah,
You know, which buses go where. He was talking about, you know, under probably a handful of buses, not like Holyoke got 20 something.
Mm.
And, you know, that would be split somehow between Northampton Services and us, but it would get us going,
Mhm,
you know, in that direction, so.
mhm.
Great.
Great.
The next bit on the agenda, I don't really have any updates for in any way. I have not got an update on the East Coast renewables and proposal that they have been talking about a little while back.
That was for the municipal building, is that?
That
Or
was
is that
for additional,
EV.
it was EV chargers in a
Level
few
3.
places, level 3 chargers, yeah. In a few places, possibly replacing the older one. I forget exactly, but it's been a little while. I don't know if they followed up. I did ask the mayor at one point, but there was any update there. I have not heard anything, so.
What, was it either Lindsay or the mayor told me when I was at a meeting that they were at, that one of the locations they're thinking of putting it is at the end of the rail trail, right where the Dunkin' Donuts is
Right.
going, which actually would be a great location.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
Well, yeah.
competition for one of our
For Bruce.
alumni.
Bruce has broken ground.
He did.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the good thing about that location is it may be close enough to a federal highway to qualify for.
That's why he's
that.
putting it there.
That's why Bruce, I'm talking about the Dunkin'.
Oh,
location.
okay. Yeah.
That could come into play there. Again, I
But
don't.
possibly no longer available funds, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, there's still lots of people, lots of capital
Yeah.
that wants to promote
Yeah.
renewable energy, that wants to promote electric vehicles. There's lots of, supply chain stuff that's already shifted
That's
in these
right.
directions. They're not gonna be able to cut stuff off. I mean, they could try to
There is some
completely kill the
momentum.
economy
You heard this by the
overnight if they
way.
want, but
Sure.
there's so much stuff in the hopper. It's the same thing, I mean, kind of when COVID started happening too, it was like solar world, we were like, it's gonna happen. It was like, oh, well, there's still projects need to get built, capacity still needed, everything's still needed. So it's like,
Right.
you can put up solar farms a lot faster than you can build a new gas or nuclear plant or whatever. So it's just like there's limits potentially to how much damage maybe or how much back, let's call it. But the Solar Energy Industries Association, along the lines of what John was saying, that other group, they've spent a long time trying to cultivate politicians all across, and then people sign off on solar stuff everywhere because it's good for local economies. It's good for, there's already a move to bring a lot more manufacturing, here into the United States with this stuff. So, there's, reason to think that stuff will continue on some level. But anyway, as far as
See.
local EV chargers and things like that, not a lot of.
Did you guys hear about the Deerfield thing in the newspaper? They got a grant for I don't know if it's up near the center of Deerfield, but off the highway.
Yeah.
To put in level 3 chargers, a bunch of level 3 chargers up there. Sounds like something. They got the grant, got the money, they're gonna go ahead with it.
Yeah, they probably got a bunch of
sponsors. It was in the Gazette, if you wanna look it up.
Okay.
Might
Yeah,
have
I did
details.
not see that.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Cool. Move on to the last bit here, which is last time I did have Grace from Sunwealth come back and talk to us in the last meeting about doing a mailer around their community solar program, their outreach to the lower income communities or environmental justice communities. She wrote back to me, she attached some stuff, and I have another message from her, which I haven't responded to, looking to see if we need anything else. So, I don't have approval from the city in any way to do that yet, nor, sort of hoping we could maybe do a mailer that covers a lot of different things rather than just one specific, piece, do some of these other electrify, promote that, or
right.
aggregation, or, mass save or something else.
What's
But-
their timeframe? Do you have any idea?
Well, she said they've got a couple of projects coming online this year, late this year. So I think they're trying
We may
to.
not be ready.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna write back to her and just say, hey, give me a quick outline of what your deadlines would be. When do you want to have this out? When would you need approval by? What's the cost? What's the cost of the city? And that way I can be specific about what I want to ask for. If I have to go to the mayor and say, hey, are you willing to spend $600 to help get this mailer out to these communities around community solar participation? excuse me, as it would be like a cost share with them, where, would we expect them to foot the whole bill for it? But just to get our buy-in so they can put, hey, we're partnering with the Energy Advisory Committee in the city of Easthampton. They approve this message,
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
sort of thing. So that's what I just need to find out from her. Is like, give me a time frame, give me an approval deadline, give me any cost associated.
Sounds right.
If and when you talk with the mayor about it,
Mm-hmm.
I have an audio memo that I created, kind of half-assed, but a couple of minutes long about my conversation with the Cambridge planning department, with
Okay.
their development department that works with Sunwell.
Yeah.
And what considerations they went through and with that kind of a
With the
project, and
lawyer
other
review,
projects
whatever.
about how the city puts their
Right.
imprimatur on things. And
Okay.
so there's their considerations. I summed it up in this for myself in that memo, but if she wants to go, if the mayor feels like they don't need to talk to anybody, just do it. Okay, but
Yeah.
if she's concerned about it, wants to go to the solicitor, this
Right.
might be a useful thing to hand them.
Okay.
I could send it along.
Great. I would appreciate it. Yeah, so that's that. And then we'll look at other outreach possibilities as other programs actually come online. And again, we have another outreach could be around, businesses and the business recognition program. So we have a little bit more to go with that. All sorts of things we could be promoting.
So in that vein, I think that we should start planning an event, even if we don't know exactly what's going to be ready for it, but
Mhm.
far enough in the future so that we can really plan it.
Okay.
And, and maybe, I'm not even sure Earth Day isn't too close. When is Earth Day? March? April, maybe we could do it, and, really try to have something that we've already organized, and then we can plug in whatever's ready,
Yeah.
at that time, and we this is the stuff we're doing, but have it more be like, see if we can get a couple of electric car, how there's sometimes people will bring electric cars, like have it be sort of in an energy day, and anything we can
This is
think
what
of.
we're doing.
And plan it, start planning it now so that we can actually, because it's very difficult. We keep feeling like, well, we don't have time to do this, we don't have time for that. But if we can decide we're going to do something, have an event,
Yep.
and come up with the peripheral stuff, and then whatever stuff we actually have in place at that time, that can be just, we'll just add it in there. We'll have a table for that. We'll have a table for, a table for the aggregation. We'll have a table for whatever's happening with businesses, whatever and of course the heat pumps. But I feel like if we don't start planning it now, once again, it's suddenly going to be too late and we can't do it. And I don't know what the date should be, but just if we could start, like maybe our next meeting, if we could all think about what could we have happen at one of these events, what are some things we could from various organizations even try to get some ideas of the kinds of things we could do. Have be sort of like a fair, sort of a fun thing. Maybe, I don't know what
Probably
you're
a parking lot here on a Friday.
well,
We
exactly.
can get that's not my first choice, but get the new Dunkin' Donuts to donate, goodies for the event
Sure.
as a welcome.
When does that opening?
That's actually,
They look pretty close.
That's
When you drive by.
that is Easthampton
It
area.
is easy.
Yeah. it's-
Although I don't understand that entrance. It looks very dicey to me where they have it. It's like, I'm sure they're gonna fix it. But do you know, have you driven by there? It's like, I don't understand how you can get in there. But,
I'll consider that new business.
That
Yeah.
is definitely new business. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, do you want to try to hone in on it?
yes, well, I mean, cultural chaos certainly is one possibility, just to try
It's
to
just-
tag on to, but it's almost too big.
We'll do that anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly,
It's like-
yeah.
That's,
Be overshadowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it should be Earth Day.
I'm trying
Yeah.
to pull up when Earth
Earth
Day
Day is April 22nd.
Oh, you're fast.
Maybe I would.
Which is not a weekend, it's a Tuesday.
Well, we can always do
The
it.
weekend
I'll
before
t-
is Easter, just FYI.
Well, I'll tell you something. Arcadia would be more than happy to do anything with us. I've done stuff when I used to when I was trying to start my own energy group, like climate change group. I did a whole bunch of stuff there. They are more than happy to let us use their facilities to do anything we want.
Yeah, I just wondering, that's not really like a central.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
No, I think this is a great location
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, here or even just like by the pond, if you can set up on and get permission to just be over, around
Yeah.
the pond area.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
If you
we
wanna
should
do it
postpone
here,
it till the
we'll try
following
to do it-
weekend though, like have it be about Earth Day, but I mean, I think it should be on the weekend, don't you?
Yeah, and I agree. I'm
Yeah.
saying if you could think, even time it to like, the first farmer's market or something like that, too, you could
Right.
even big, but I don't know.
Who organizes that? Do we have, does
There's a
anybody
person,
know?
I
The
forget.
farmer's market, when they run, it's crowded.
Yeah,
I think
There's not
we
much
want
room
to
for
have something
anybody else.
independent, just ourselves.
yeah, okay.
Well, or we, yeah. I mean, it'd be nice, it would probably be a good idea to at least be in touch with them
Oh, of course.
if they're up and running when we
But I don't
decide to
think
do.
I don't think they open until May or something.
Yeah.
I think April's too early for them
Yeah. Okay, I will, put on my thinking cap about
anyway.
it.
Yeah.
And if you guys also could just think about, I know Cambridge does a huge thing every year. So I think I'll just also do a little Google searching for what other communities do.
Would I be
Just Amherst.
most motivated to work, to work on, what would cause me to be most motivated to work on something like that is if we could come up with something other than the usual way of luring people to the event. And so we're not just preaching to the choir, because we are trying to reach out to environmental justice neighborhoods. We're trying to reach out to the same client base that all these heat pump programs are, and
Yeah.
promote that stuff, everybody, but those people in particular.
Yeah,
And I don't know, we put a lot of effort into it. Let's figure out a way to,
yeah. I mean, I think there
Well,
has to be
people there,
sort
whether
of
it's a
family,
raffle,
some
a
sort of
raffle or something.
family-oriented events, so that
I mean-
people will think it's gonna be fun.
yeah,
Right.
So let's keep this on our document
Yeah.
for the next meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
we're not gonna make it as big as this, but the Amherst has their sustainability festival, which they were on Saturday, April 20th last year.
okay,
And
that's,
it's a big all-day thing. They've got performers, they've got.
That's what I'm
tents everywhere,
they had the
they've
house
got
doctor. They had a picture of the house doctor.
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
That was the
It's
heat pump
like
lady
the
from
12th.
Goldman or somebody from
Okay.
Amherst behind a little booth saying.
Yeah,
For sick houses. It's funny.
yeah,
the
it's like they've done it for 12
Yeah.
years,
Might
right? So
want
they're
to
obviously like
participate.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
big.
Planting season. The bees.
The bees, we should ask the bees people
Oh,
to do
they'll
it
do
with us.
something
That's a
for
good
sure.
idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely plant that season, right?
Cool.
All right, yeah, so we'll add that
You
as
guys-
an agenda item for
I
future.
just want to
meetings.
just caution, this sounds like a lot of work.
Yes,
So we are
That, yeah.
5 people.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you guys already spend much more time than I do, so.
Let's not stretch ourselves.
Let's bring some more
Let's not
people.
bite off more than-
Anybody know anybody? Let's bring some more
well,
people.
I'm gonna look into it as an event, but I really feel like we keep talking about outreach, and we do not have a public face in
Right.
our community, and we have all these things we've done, nobody knows about it. We have to come up with a way to be out on the streets at this point,
I'm not disagreeing
Yeah.
with you.
yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the word of caution.
And we might be able to find some local organizations that would be willing to take on parts of it. That's sort of what I'm hoping.
When again, if we've
Okay.
got an advocate, if we've got
Yeah.
a coordinator, we can use
Sustainability.
planning, yeah, like.
Which is one reason I'm
I
thinking
nominate-
wait until the
I know.
summer.
I nominate Connie to be our public face.
yes,
Well, I mean, yeah, I will definitely take this on as for next meeting. I'll tell you what I found out. See what I mean, the real question is whether we can get other organizations involved. Like at Cultural Chaos, that circus school had people, like we want some people like that around, like,
Right.
untracked.
But yeah, I mean, if you can get a food truck or two there as well.
There you
or
go.
something,
Yeah,
food trucks.
There you go.
Always have something like that, get some inflatables for the kids to slide on and stuff.
Yeah, could we'd have to close down.
Massa's would probably set up a table if they thought we were gonna have.
Yeah, they
have
definitely
a lot of
would.
people.
Yeah.
Especially promoting.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and that may then warrant a separate, planning meeting of its own at some point.
Absolutely.
Small
Okay.
subset.
Quick question that relates to this in
Yeah.
terms of spreading the work around, having more people. I thought that much before. I don't remember what the answer was. What happened to the names and addresses of the people who showed up at our meetings? Around the climate action plan in the city hall? Is that in the possession of West
I think it's on
Hampton?
the drive.
Cassie had all that.
On the drive?
I think it's on the
Really?
drive.
Remind me again, I go into my G drive, my Google Drive, and I look for shared drives, I look for my own drive, shared drive. I don't know what I'm looking for to
Well,
find.
it's under the city of, I think it's all in the city of Easthampton. And then there's a section, or there, isn't that where it was before at least? First you had to find city of Easthampton.
So you just have to type
On
in
the
the right
drive.
words to pull up. the
Well, it
city of-
should, but shared with me, one of the things shared with you should be a city of Easthampton folder.
She put in I don't know if you save your emails.
I do all that.
That was what I
Yeah,
saved for exit interview
Yeah.
Yeah.
email. It had
Yeah,
the link
right,
is
right,
in
right,
there.
right.
So yeah, if you go like I did here under shared with me,
Yeah,
and I just made it show me folders. I said it so that it's just folders, and like then there's.
it's something.
Oops, I just did
I
something.
get the
I
idea.
forgot I was on screen.
Searched, I didn't see anything, but I didn't.
So
Right.
the
So
piece
yeah,
of
that comes
information,
up as like energy advisory committee.
but was it, did you do Easthampton first or did you?
Oh, yeah, I just do
It's,
shared with me.
Okay,
and
I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
There.
Is that a folder? Yeah,
Yeah.
and is that where Cassie had been storing everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, thanks.
It's really comprehensive. I had to use it for the grant.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, with that,
I make a motion to close?
all right, we have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor?
Favor.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.